Please get a better update of how things are going. Geez, this is a this is the closest we've seen all day, really, because we had the qualifying rounds this morning and a number of riders were lapped in those qualifying rounds, and there really wasn't a huge sort of one-on-one competition, but this is quite extraordinary, and this is what it's all about. Close racing, good racing, hard racing. Sue Powell has now inched in front, but only just. This is amazing. The changing leads almost every lap. Sounds like the crowd is a little split. They're not really sure who to cheer from, but there is a strong US contingent and a strong Australian contingent. Sue Powell has opened up a little bit more of a lead, still only 0.3 of a second or so not a lot. But can she build on this? She is building on this. 0.4 of a second. 1 kilometre to go. Let's get another update. No, there's not much in it at all. She's not really managing to extend that lead, but she's not losing any ground either. So 0.4 of a second, almost half a second in front. Let's remember that Sue had a fantastic ride this morning, setting that world record, and you've just got to make sure that you've still got some left in the tank, but you also need to make sure that you've ridden fast enough to qualify for the gold medal ride-off. So really, it's kind of all or nothing, but then when you back up again in the afternoon after an endurance event like this, it's very, very challenging indeed. So Sue Powell, lovely position on her bike. She's now opened up that lead to a second, but still got 2.5 laps to go. All right, what can be done here? Sue Powell, 1.329 seconds, so that would almost be a comfortable lead with a lap to go, but one can't take anything for granted. We just can't be sure. What has Megan Fisher got in her? Has she got any kick left in her legs? Can she do it? Sue Powell's done it. She's done it, 4:05.200. So just a bit outside her world record. Doesn't matter. She's got the gold medal. Well, there are going to be so many people happy for her, both here in London, back in her hometown of Canberra. A really good ride by Megan Fisher. There was nothing in it until about 3 laps to go, and then all of a sudden Sue just could seem to hold her off and then build that lead ever so slightly, but it was by no means a comfortable win in the end. This was the closest individual pursuit we've seen of the day, as I mentioned earlier. Some of the heats this morning, there were riders that were lapped. Not the case at all in this final. It was neck and neck. In fact, Megan Fisher got the better start of the two. Then Sue Powell took the lead. Then it was back to Megan Fisher, then Sue Powell again. And Sue just managed to build her lead ever so slightly, but it just wasn't a hugely comfortable race. It was a tight one. In many ways makes the victory all the sweeter. Oh, what a wonderful result. A little bit emotional. She would have wanted that gold medal, and now she's got it. That's what she would have wanted this morning. It's always a question when you ride so well in the morning over an endurance event like this, what you've got left in the tank for the afternoon, but she certainly had it. So, moving on. Whipping through these events, it's a packed schedule here, and we've got the women's individual C5 pursuit. That is, of course, unless they decide to nip into a ceremony, award ceremony. It looks as though the media is setting up there. Just to break up the events a little bit. A bit hard for the cyclists that are waiting to to compete next, though, just waiting that little bit longer. So you can see there, I'm not sure how well you can hear it at home, but the presenter at the track there saying that Australia and China are essentially in the middle of the velodrome there. They have their warm-up areas next to each other, and then wondering whether the success was rubbing off on the two teams. But so China already winning the very first two track cycling gold medals of London 2012 to be awarded have gone to China. Then Australia has picked up a third medal, but we still have another two to decide this afternoon, one women's and one men's gold medal. So we are going to a victory ceremony now. The women's individual
The medals will be presented by Sir Craig Reading, CBE, board member of LOCOM, accompanied by Mr. Chris Holmes, MBE, Director, Paralympic Integration. Bronze medalist, representing the United States of America, Alison Jones. Silver medalist, representing Australia, Simone Kennedy. Gold medalist and Paralympic champion, representing the People's Republic of China, Song Jin-yi. Ladies and gentlemen, as is customary, will those who are able please stand for the national anthem of the People's Republic of China. Ladies and gentlemen, your Paralympic medalists.
The next medalist to be revealed. So we have the deciding races of the women's individual C5 pursuit, the finals. There is going to be a home crowd favourite as well, racing for the gold medal. Sarah Story, who set a world record this morning in this morning's session over this distance. She's racing for gold against the Polish cyclist Anna Arkowska. But first up will be Fiona Southhorn from New Zealand racing against Crystal Lane from Great Britain. So there'll be a fair bit of excitement about that as well. So Great Britain, or GB as we're calling them, could come away with 2 medals from these next finals. And then of course after that we have the men's individual B pursuit. So that is the final race of the day, or the final decider, I guess you'd say, the final finals, if you want to put it that way. Running to a pretty tight schedule here, doing very well. The women's individual C5 pursuit due to start at 4:31 p.m. You can see on the clock over there, it's currently 4:27 p.m. So here we go, as expected, a huge roar for these GB athletes that are about to start racing. So we do have the bronze medal ride-off first, as I mentioned, Fiona Southhorn and Crystal Lane first, but then Sarah Story, one of the most successful Paralympians in Great Britain's history. Sarah Story, of course, a swimmer first. Now an amazing cyclist and very popular, and she's been part of a lot of the media coverage in the lead up to these games as well. Got a very high profile. See her picture all around the place, lots of interviews on television, online. She's keeping a blog which you can see through the Paralympics website if you're interested.
So back to the track again, 2 more ride-offs, 4 medals. We come now to the women's individual C5 pursuit ride-offs. Again, for New Zealand, world bronze medalist from the Hamptons earlier this year, Fiona Southhorn. Against her, fighting for the bronze, representing Great Britain, Crystal Lane.
So no surprises there. Crystal Lane getting a very, very warm reception as she lines up to to race for the bronze medal in the women's individual C5 pursuit. This is the finals. So this, then the gold medal ride-off as well, featuring Sarah Story. And not a great start there for Crystal Lane. You see she wobbled quite a bit to the side, but look, it doesn't matter anywhere near as much as it does in the time trial to get a good start, because you do have that bit more time to build up your speed, and really the important part of this race is the back end of it, to see what further you can sustain your speed in as the burn sets in. But you can see Crystal Lane really well off the pace there, because she had a bit of a dodgy start there. She pretty much rolled out sideways out of the blocks. She'll be playing off the crowd as well, that energy. Doesn't matter if it's not all for you. And still go as fast as possible. Using that energy from the stadium is really quite deafening in there. It's cut the deficit in half already, so about 0.4 of a second. Crystal Lane is behind Fiona Southorn. You can see both coaches urging their athletes on. Cutting it ever so slightly. So Crystal Lane now just shaving off every lap, just shaving off a few hundredths of a second. Appears to have dropped back just slightly after that one though. This is what we love to see in the finals, is nice close racing. Each rider pursuing each other. Crystal Lane now dropping off ever so slightly, just under a second behind Fiona Southorn. Now just over a second. So Fiona Southorn's having a ride of her life here. She's gaining ground every half lap. Every update that we're getting now, she's gaining ground. Now almost, it's 1.745 seconds in front. So once you get up to sort of the 2-second lead, with around 500 metres to go, you'd have to start to feel pretty comfortable. Still though, there's a little bit of this race left to play out. Can she use the crowd? Can Crystal Lane use the crowd to her advantage and give her that extra impetus she needs? No, she's looking well off the pace now. It's looking as though it's going to be Fiona Southorn's day. Still a kilometre left to go though. So stroking the pedals through, having an efficient action is what's needed here, and this is going to give Fiona Southorn a huge boost. She's going to be able to see Crystal Lane and think, I've got her. I've absolutely got her. And instead of thinking about easing off, it makes you even more excited to know that you're not that far off the pace and that the medal is within your grasp. And she's going to want to finish strong and keep Crystal Lane in her sights. If not, make up even more ground, have the chance of passing her. But I just don't think that's going to be possible. We've only got 500 metres left to go. There may not be quite enough time, but look at her go. Fiona Southorn, the Kiwi, is having the ride of her life. You can now see her down the straight, but can she catch on this last lap? Can she do it? Inching ever so closer, half a lap to go. The crowd has gone absolutely wild. This is amazing. It's fantastic. Great atmosphere, considering it's the GB rider who was well off the pace, and the crowd is just so generous in their praise and applause, and also cheering on for Crystal Lane, who's now finished 4th overall in this competition, which is a fantastic result, although it will be disappointing for her to finish just outside the medals. However, Fiona Southorn, what a fantastic race. So 3:55. Sarah Story's world record now is 3 minutes 32. So that gives you an understanding. I mean, we saw Fiona Southorn racing just then. She looked incredible, so smooth, so efficient, and just sort of purring around the track. But she is 23 seconds slower than Sarah Story. So that gives you an indication of just how talented Sarah Story is and how dominant she is in this sport. But Anna Haukowska, the Polish rider, she had a great morning this morning. So she'll be feeling quite buoyant coming into this. And just because the crowd isn't necessarily all cheering for you doesn't mean you're not drawing off that energy and drawing off that atmosphere and enjoying performing on the stage. It does lift you to the next level. And let's see sometimes it's also a bit of a blessing being the underdog going into a final like this in terms of being able to manage the nerves. But in the end, Australia has taken the first gold medal available to both countries in a final at these games. Great Britain will be looking to level that gold medal with Sarah Story. That is a slick-looking bike. Anna Harkowska. Sarah Story is going to mount the all-black machine, double disc wheels. Sarah Story, of course, also races against able-bodied athletes as well, and has just had such an amazing Paralympic career. Anna Harkowska's not happy. Something's the bike's just not quite balanced properly in the starting blocks there. It's helping the officials to get it to adjust just quite right. You've got to remember that these the track is, it's about a 12-degree angle there where they've set up the bike, so it's quite easily to tip it off sideways if you're not you know, in the starting blocks properly. So it's important to get it right so you get the best start possible. You really don't want to be losing your line, as we saw in that last race, straight out of the blocks. You just want an easy, fresh, clean start, not to be dragged back. Crowd obeying the command to be quiet. Good start for both the athletes, although Sarah Story looked a little slower out of the blocks there, but they both managed to keep their line, so no huge dramas there. And let's see how early on, let's see how things pan out over the next kilometre or so. Wow, okay. So Sarah Story, by the clock, 1.5 seconds up. Early days yet. But look, this is amazing. Sarah Story has the experience, she has the mind, the body, the crowd, everything on her side. Such a successful Paralympian, and here she is, almost making it look too easy. Look at this now. It's not going to be long before she can see Harkowska in front of her, and let's just see how much she wants to exert her dominance over this sport, and whether she's going to go and be able to catch her and overtake her and lap her, essentially, in the individual pursuit. Look at this. This has happened much, much earlier than I'd anticipated, perhaps much earlier than others anticipated as well. I would have thought that we would have been a little closer at this point, but not so. Sarah Story is going to overtake Anna Harkowska, and that is disappointing for Anna Harkowska, but she can take solace in the fact that she is being beaten by one of the absolute best of all time. The crowd absolutely loves it. So a victory lap. So we didn't see that in the earlier stages today. So in the qualifying rounds, in able-bodied individual pursuit racing, normally if you lap your competitor, then the race is over, but that didn't happen earlier today in the qualifying rounds. They still managed to keep racing. But not so here in the gold medal final. The crowd absolutely loves it today. This is such a fantastic way to celebrate the opening day of competition at the London 2012 Games. One of the country's favourite, most successful athletes is here, winning gold, and she already set the world record earlier today, so you can just enjoy the moment. So, what a popular gold medalist we have, but of course this isn't the last event of the day. But perhaps not the way she would have liked. She would have liked to have finished the race, no doubt, and made a good competition of it, but not to be in the end. So here she is. I think just due to the popularity, they've decided to interrupt proceedings for now to, not sure if the floor staff there are going to interview her or what's going to happen, but it's the moment of celebration and to lap up the atmosphere and just enjoy it. Also for the crowd too to celebrate their champion. So there you have it, the final rankings: Sarah Story, Anna Harkowska, Fiona Southorn, the top three. Crystal Lane, Great Britain, came in fourth. Jennifer Schubel, who raced well this morning, the fifth ranked rider. So we're attempting another Mexican wave here at the velodrome. And why wouldn't you, hey? Party-like atmosphere.
Medals will be presented by Her Excellency Ms. Quentin Bryce, Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, accompanied by Mr. Greg Hartung, Vice President of the International Paralympic Committee. Bronze medalist, representing Australia, Alexandra Green.
So the youngster there enjoying the moment, Alexandra Green.
Silver medalist, representing the United States of America, Megan Fisher.
So gracious there, Megan Jones.
Thanks so much. Everyone loves flowers. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Thanks so much.
I love flowers, she said. Lovely. So Megan Fisher,
Gold
silver
medalist
in the
and
women's individual
Paralympic
custody.
champion,
C4.
representing Australia, Susan Powell. Ladies and gentlemen, as is customary, will those who are able please stand for the national anthem of Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, your Paralympic medalists.
So the results sure to ignite some competition in the medal tally between Australia and Team GB these Paralympics. The cyclists on your screen, this isn't the last you've seen of them, they're also competing in at least another one track event each. Some of them are competing in another two track events, and of course there is the road racing later on in the Paralympic schedule, the individual time trial and then the individual road race. Women just getting themselves in the right order for their photos there. As we prepare for the men's individual B category pursuit, it's across 4,000 metres. But they absolutely love this track. Smooth and fast, and it's quite cool in London today, pretty cool and wet, and I do know that this velodrome, as you can see there with the low roof, see up in the top corners of the stands, it can get pretty hot and steamy up there on a hot day, so it should be nice and comfortable right up the top there today. But of course the actual surface of the track, or the temperature around the surfaase of the track, is closely monitored and regulated because of the wood that they use. They don't want any sort of changes to the surface, too much moisture. Don't want anything to affect the surface of this track. So here we have it, the men's individual pursuit B. Just hear them in the background testing the start equipment. So here we have it, you can see on your screen Miguel Angel Clement Solano. His pilot is Diego Javier Munoz. Now they're going to be racing against James Brown and pilot Damien Shaw. Yes, that's right, and the world record holder Kieran Modra and his pilot Scott McPhee are going to be racing against the other Australians, Bryce Lindoras and Sean Finning. Sean Finning being the pilot out of that pair of riders. So if you're not familiar, if you haven't seen this before, it's like a tandem bike setup, and the pilot is of course the person sitting in the front. That's the sighted rider, to guide the visually impaired rider who's sitting at the back and tucked right in behind in the most aerodynamic position possible. A real test of track endurance, and as we mentioned earlier, a lot of these athletes then translating their skills to road racing as well. In fact, the majority today that we've seen racing are all racing in the road program as well. So Spanish team, you can see Clement Solano sitting in the rear there. tightly tucked in behind pilot Diego Javier Munoz. Last bit of reassurance from the coach before they get ready. And here we have Ireland's James Brown. You can see him sitting in the rear, and Damien Shaw, top 4 ranked riders, then went into the final stage. But we don't have a semi-final situation. We just have 1 versus 2. And in this case, that you can see right here, 3 versus 4. Going to be racing over 4,000 metres, so the difference being all the men's events are over 4,000 metres, the women's events race over 3,000 metres, and that's the same as it is in the able-bodied championships and the Olympics as well. So there's no difference there. Spain off to a flying start though. So the crowd's certainly being entertained here this afternoon, even though there are no GB riders. And this is very, very close indeed. So the Spanish team took the early advantage, and they had almost a second or a bit over a second lead. But James Brown and Shaw, his pilot, are certainly making up for lost ground now. But don't forget, this is close. This is over 4,000 metres. So as long as it stays close in the first half of the race, we can't really read too much into it, particularly if there's some jostling between the winning. But this race is, of course, for the bronze medal. Oh, geez, there's not much in it at all. So Brown and Shaw have cut the deficit now for the last several laps, and now they've taken the front. So it is the Spanish team that's going to have its work cut out for the second half of this race. We're at the 1875 metre mark. Spain has just been overtaken, but it is a very, very good competition indeed. Well-matched riders. As Ireland competes on their lime green or Kermit the Frog green bike, as you can see. Wow, there's really not much in it at all. The crowd's getting right behind both of these sets of riders. Ireland is building a lead. Half a second they're blowing it out to. However, they've still got more than a kilometre to go in this race. So Spain just needs to stay with them. It'll be difficult for them to see because there's not really... It's not a great angle, and they really need to be hammering down that straight to try and come out of the corner and hold the line and power down as quickly as possible. So you can't really look across and see how the other guys are doing too much. Here we have it. See, Spain, they're staying with them. They've just made up the deficit. About a quarter of a second they've made up in that last lap. You can see the pilot at the front, Munoz, gritting his teeth, opening his mouth, sucking in the air, but geez, the lactic acid build-up is great. And wow, this is a close race. Spain has hit the front again. So they were leading, they lost the lead. Ireland seemed to be building a lead, and now Ireland are half a second behind. This is very, very interesting indeed. Spain are making up ground with every lap now. So Spain are very, very popular athletes here in London, and look at this, 1 lap to go, and they appear to have an unassailable lead. They've somehow managed to make up that ground in the last 2 laps to now blow out the lead to 1.5 seconds. They're going to come out of this corner, hammer it down the straight, and they've done it. So Spain has taken the bronze medal. This is in the men's individual B pursuit. And aren't they celebrating? And Clement Solano clearly pointing to his pilot, Diego Javier Munoz, celebrating, pointing to him, saying, "You are fantastic. Thank you so much." Such a close relationship. You spend so many hours training together, not just on the bike, but in the gym, spending time together, talking tactics. Well, congratulations to Spain. What a great race. They really earned that. It didn't look like they were going so well in the first third of the race, but as we've found out from watching these pursuits throughout the day, particularly in the men's pursuit, when it's that kilometre longer, you can't really read too much into the first sort of third of the race if someone doesn't get a great start. Really, from the halfway point, if there's not much in it, it's very, very difficult to tell. So, still celebrating the Spanish cyclist, Clement Solano, and his pilot Munoz from Spain, 4:24.015. They're Australian teammates. So a bittersweet result in many ways. Australia guaranteed for a medal. You'd be happy for your teammate. But they've also got a chance to win a gold or a silver, but of course you want to beat them. So it is a bit of an odd sensation, but a good one for the team officials to come away with a gold and a silver. Is a fantastic achievement, but these cyclists know what colour they want. So Kieran Modra, see they're tucked in behind Scott McPhee. These two are the world record holders. They set that world record in Italy together last March. And Kieran Modra had a different pilot in Beijing at the Paralympics, where they set the Paralympic record of 4:18.166. So here's Bryce Lindors, and Sean Finning is his pilot in the front. Some discussion there about start blocks. I think they're just double checking the alignment. Hopefully the two cyclists won't have to dismount to readjust. No, everything's fine. There's a nod. Second countdown. Beeps on 5. No way. Good clean starts for both riders. So if you get a little bit confused as to who's who going around the track, Kieran Modra has got, he's sitting at the back with a plain white helmet, but all other three cyclists in this race have the silver and white helmet. But Kieran Modra, you can see him on the screen there, he's got the plain white helmet, so not with the silver. So that's how you can keep up with who's who. So Modra has the early advantage over Lindors. Very, very early stages, so obviously they got away to a very good start. There's not a lot in it at this point. tell you what, Kieran Modger's outfit, he's just looking so sharp with his pilot there, Scott McPhee. The burn would just be setting in now. It's such a test of endurance. And I tell you what, with a 3-second advantage, they are going to be eyeing off, closing that gap to see if they can't put this final to a stop sooner rather than later. As you can see, they're almost sharing the straight now. So Kieran Modger, I mean, what a ride we've got here. Scott McPhee, and they're racing for the gold medal against their countrymen. And it's looking as though they could be in a position to lap them very, very soon. We're not quite at the halfway mark. As we saw in the previous race, the women's C5, that was around about the halfway mark, I think, that Sarah Story managed to lap Harkowska. Just get the sense that if they can keep pushing and pushing and pushing, it might not be very long until they can hammer down that straight and then make up the ground they want and put this race to a stop straight away. It's difficult to get a split at the moment. We're almost sharing the straight. So Modra there with the plain white helmet, the only one of the race. He's got the plain white helmet. And they will really be buoyed by this. Once you get the sight of them, look, they are sharing the straight now. Not sure, it seems that Lindors might be holding his ground at the moment with Sean Finney. Doesn't look like Modra is managing to make up a lot of ground after obviously doing so well in the first few laps. They may have gone out hard quite early and now be just maintaining their pace. Geez, you can feel the burn for them now. That is painful indeed. No, they are managing to make it up, but I don't know, just can't quite tell. I can't really see them being able to lap them because now that Lindors is managing to hold his line so well and hold that pace, it just doesn't look like he's going to quite be able to, that Modri's quite going to be able to make it up there to lap him. With only 3 laps to go. I guess if we look at the world record, 4:17, I mean, that's what we can turn our sights to now. If they're going to race this out, how fast can they go? 2 laps to go. This is an extraordinary performance. So Modra and Lindors are absolutely dominating. 1 lap to go. So what have we got? We've got 4:01 on the clock. It is going to be very, very close indeed. So the world record, 4:17.780. The Paralympic record, 4:18.166. And they've just got to hammer it and go for it now. And it is going to be very, very, very close. Oh, they got it, set a world record. Congratulations, Kieran Modra and Scott McPhee, 4:17.756. Wow, that is a world record. Needless to say, a Paralympic record, and the crowd is on its feet. Fantastic. Congratulations. So the last time they went that fast, geez, they've only beaten it by 0.04 of a second. Oh, no, they haven't. Let me recalculate there. In all my excitement, 0.24 of a second. So the last time they set that world record was back in March 2011. So almost a year and a half has passed and they've absolutely owned it here today. What an amazing performance. And the crowd's just so appreciative. I tell you what, if that doesn't get the grudge match going between GB and Australia, I don't know what will, because there is going to be a hunt on for gold medals in the track and the road cycling program. And it seems now the Paralympians are managing to do what perhaps the Olympians weren't able to, get that really good start for Australia. Well, what an unbelievable session of performances, and don't forget we've still got a medal ceremony to go, but wow, look, Li Jiangyu, the Chinese cyclist who was the gold medalist in the men's individual C1, 2 and 3 kilo time trial, he smashed the world record. He didn't just break the world record, he absolutely smashed it by a ridiculous amount. I think it was about, what was it in the end? I think it was 8 or 9 seconds. It was ridiculous, really, how fast he went. Sarah Story set a world record this morning. She won gold for her home country. That's been an absolute highlight. Sue Powell from Australia set a world record. They're winning gold. Great Britain has featured in the medals, but the one to remember, of course, is Sarah Story, and she lapped Anna Harkowska in the final of the women's individual C5 pursuit, and then just enjoyed it. Rode another 2 laps. The race was over. Enjoyed the victory lap thoroughly. So Kieran Modra waving to the crowd. They're absolutely loving it, and they'll be spent, those boys. That's a very, very big day of racing. And they've all got to back up because it is a full complement of races these athletes are in across these games, both track and road disciplines. There we have it, the official results there. So not bringing up the world record there, but that's all right. Winning the gold medal for Team GB. And then, of course, we'll have the event, the medal event and the medal ceremony for the event that was just run then. That is the men's individual B pursuit. Plenty of smiles and congratulations there. Looks as though it might have been Kieran's parents in the stands there. Crowd extremely generous in their praise, but they have had plenty to celebrate. A few medals to Team GB this afternoon, and geez, there's going to be a lot of excitement when Sarah Story gets her gold medal this afternoon. Governor-General of Australia, Quinton Bryce, who presented the medals in the women's C4 individual pursuit, telling the cyclists she was so very proud of them, which was very nice indeed. So this is day 1 of 4 of track cycling. The London 2012 Paralympic Games. Still plenty more to come. And as I mentioned, I mean, most of these athletes, you're going to see plenty of them if you're following the cycling over these games, because most of them are doubling up in multiple track events as well as road events. There's only the 2 road racing events. That's the individual time trial and the individual road race. But most of the women that have raced today, so this has been the categories of the individual pursuit for C1 to 5. We've still got the women's B to come, and also we'll have the individual time trial and the women race over 5.
The medals will be presented by Mr. Dusan Kaplovic, Minister responsible for Sport of Slovakia, accompanied by Mr. Tim Hollingsworth. Bronze medalist, representing New Zealand, Fiona Southern. representing Poland, Anna Harkowska. Gold medalist and Paralympic champion representing Great Britain, Sarah Story. Ladies and gentlemen, as is customary, will those who are able please stand for the national anthem of Great Britain. Ladies and gentlemen, your Paralympic medalists.
Well, certainly a huge cause for celebration for the crowd here. One of the most popular Paralympians and so successful, Sarah Story, winning and also setting a world record earlier today during the qualifying round. So congratulations to her, and the crowd absolutely loves it here. So just the one medal ceremony left for today before we wrap up day one of the track cycling. Popular as ever. Sarah Story, there she is, doing the home country proud, the host nation proud, and getting the Paralympic Games off to an excellent start for Team GB. rid of that lactic build-up. And many of these cyclists, of course, now looking ahead to the next round of competition. So track cycling continues tomorrow. In fact, we've got 4 days in a row coming up. And so recovery now is crucial to focus on the next event because, gee, there was some really tough racing there today. So, of course, one more medal ceremony. That is for the men's individual B pursuit, and that will be the last official duty from the velodrome today. And, wow, it was quite extraordinary. Kieran Modra with his pilot, Scott McPhee, setting that world record. So that ceremony just a few minutes away. So I'll try and bring you up to speed with what can be expected tomorrow. I'm just going to have a look forward to the schedule, but Paralympic Sport TV will be bringing you some track cycling tomorrow, so coverage, streaming coverage from the velodrome yet again. There is just so much happening. We've got a total of 7 channels for you. Of course, we're offering Spanish for the first time, so if that's your language of preference, you can tune into our Spanish language channel. So I'll tell you a little bit about day 2 of the track cycling. There'll be the men's individual pursuit in the C1 to 3 classes. So of course we had the women this morning. Each classification has some pretty big rivalries. Mark Lee Colburn, who already competed today, he's up against Michael Tuber. And we'll see Juan Jose Mendez again. And in the C2 class, world champion Colin Lynch from Ireland will be racing against Liang Weihua from China. Fabrizio Macchi as well is in that category. And in the C3 we've got a number of good contenders, including Darren Kenny, the Brit, who'll be competing tomorrow. He'll be up against David Nicholas, the 21-year-old from Australia. Nicholas beat Kenny to gold at the World Championships earlier this year. So that's some of the key highlights for tomorrow. Then on day 3 of action and day 3 of cycling, we'll have the men's Kilo B classification. So that means the B classified riders have got tomorrow off essentially to try and recover and refocus. And on day 3, that's when the women's 500 metre time trial is. And He Yin from China, Alison Jones from the USA, you will have seen them racing today. They're backing up for that. But, of course, Sarah Story will be racing in the C5 event. Her main rival in that will be Greta Niemenes. But the rider that we haven't seen yet, one of the best-known Paralympians of all time, Jiří Ježek from the Czech Republic, will get to work in the C4 class of the men's individual pursuit. So that's on day 3. He's on track to become the most decorated Paralympic cyclist. He needs just 2 medals to eclipse the record, all set by Australia's very own Christopher Scott. So that's on day 3, so we'll see Jiří Ježek then. I'll be back with you for day 3. Day 4, that's the 2nd of September. Now that closes out the track cycling. We've got a packed schedule on that day as well. There'll be sprint races along with the women's individual pursuit B classification. So that's the women's version of what we've just seen happen here. And the very last race on the track is the men's individual.
The medals will be presented by the Right Honourable Justine Greening MP, Secretary of State for Transport, accompanied by Mr Tim Hollingsworth. bronze medalist. Representing Spain, Miguel Clemente, piloted by Diego Munoz. Silver medalist representing Australia, Bryce Lindors, piloted by Sean Finney. Gold medalist and Paralympic champion, representing Australia, Kieran Modra, piloted by Scott McPhee. Ladies and gentlemen, as is customary, will those who are able please stand for the national anthem of Australia. Gentlemen, your Paralympic medalists.
Well, what a fantastic day one of competition it's been. It's the first of 4 days of track cycling at London 2012, and I tell you what, there have been world records set, there have been rivalries ignited, and got a feeling the best is yet to come. Thank you so much for joining me, Amy Bainbridge here at Paralympic Sport TV. Now we're going to bring you some highlights from that wonderful opening ceremony last night, and after that we'll have live coverage of the powerlifting. So do stay tuned to Paralympic Sport TV. Thanks for watching.
Ever since the dawn of civilization, people have craved for an understanding of the underlying order of the world. Why it is as it is, and why it exists at all.
Tonight and for the next 11 days, a record 4,200 athletes from 166 National Paralympic Committees will compete at 20 venues for 503 medal events. The theme for the opening ceremony is enlightenment.
Will you be, for all of us gathering here, our eyes, our ears, and our hearts, shine your light on the beautiful diversity of humanity. Understand those rights that protect us. Look up, stretch your wings and fly.
Umbrellas are a motif running throughout the whole opening ceremony.
Gathers around the big umbrella, the stadium awaits the entrance of Her Majesty the Queen. This is the first time the British monarch has officiated at the openings of both the Olympic and Paralympic Games.
And now, the moment that all athletes and officials have been dedicating their whole lives to achieving. The entry into the Paralympic Stadium of all the participating nations.
Argentina!
Argentina participated in the first official Paralympic Games in 1960 in Rome and have taken part in every game since.
Australia!
Australia's team of 172 athletes led by flag bearer Greg Smith, a 45-year-old wheelchair rugby player.
Belgium have attended every Paralympic Games since Rome in 1960.
Brazil have competed in every summer Paralympic Games since 1972. They have a large team of 355 athletes for these games.
Cameroon!
Cameroon are making their Paralympic debut at London 2012. A team of 300 Canadian athletes are being led out by wheelchair rugby player Garrett Hickling.
People's Republic of China!
Tang Li-Chin is the talisman of the People's Republic of China. He's the leader of their delegation.
Cuba!
Cuba first competed at the Paralympic Games in 1992.
Cyprus!
Cyprus have been competing since 1988 in Seoul.
Egypt!
Since their debut in the Paralympic Games in 1972, Egypt have won 150 medals.
France!
France have competed in every Paralympics and stand fourth in the all-time medal table. Their team of 157 athletes.
Germany!
Germany's team, 161 athletes. They've competed in every Paralympics, with East Germany joining them after unification in 1990.
The tradition of Greece entering the opening ceremony first does not apply at the Paralympics.
Hungary!
With just 4 athletes in track and field, Hungary made their Paralympic Games debut in 1972 in Heidelberg.
Islamic Republic of Iran!
Iran first competed at the Paralympic Games in 1988 in Seoul.
Ireland are another of the 23 countries who competed in the inaugural Paralympic Games back in 1960. Italy's medal tally from 13 previous Paralympic appearances is 80 medals.
Japan made their Paralympic debut on home soil at the 1964 Games in Tokyo and were the only Asian competitors.
Kenya boasts 60 athletes in total and have won 36 Paralympic medals, and all but 2 of those have been in athletics.
Republic of Korea!
Republic of Korea first participated at the Paralympic Games in 1968 and have sent athletes to compete in every game since.
Malaysia!
Malaysia made their Paralympic Games debut in 1972 in Heidelberg, when they sent 3 athletes to compete in athletics and weightlifting. Mexico made their Paralympic Games debut in 1972 in Heidelberg, a team of 7 athletes competing in track and field, swimming, weightlifting and wheelchair fencing.
Nigeria made their Paralympic Games debut in 1992 in Barcelona.
New Zealand!
New Zealand's team of 29 athletes, led by their flag bearer Michael Johnson, who competes in the shooting events.
Norway!
Norway have participated in every edition of both the Summer and Winter Paralympics except the second Summer Games in 1964.
Russian Federation!
Russia have competed in the Paralympic Games under several different titles, as the Soviet Union, as a unified team, and as Russia since 1994.
Singapore!
Singapore began their participation in the Paralympic Games in 1988 in Seoul. First competed at the Paralympic Games of 1968. The Games of 92 were hosted in Barcelona, but their most successful games was Sydney 2000, where they finished 3rd in the medal table.
Sweden's flag bearer is Jonas Jakobsson, undoubtedly the greatest disabled shooter of all time, with 16 gold, 1 silver and 8 bronze medals after 32 years of Paralympic competition.
Switzerland!
Switzerland have won 264 Paralympic medals over 13 games. Thailand first participated in the Paralympic Games in 1984 in Stoke Mandeville and New York, with athletes competing in athletics, lawn bowls and swimming.
Turkey!
Gizem Gürizmen is the flag bearer for Turkey. They've been participating in the Paralympics since '92, only missing Atlanta.
United States of America!
The United States have participated in every summer and winter Paralympic Games. New York co-hosted the Games in 1984. Atlanta was host in '96, and the 2002 Winter Paralympics were held in Salt Lake City.
Uruguay have only won one bronze medal, that by Jorg Lerina in the men's 200 meters in '96.
Venezuela's first and only Paralympic gold medal was won in 2008 in Beijing.
And finally, please give a huge welcome to Paralympics GB!
And now, finally, the hosts Great Britain with that enormous team of 304 athletes, led by flag bearer Peter Norfolk, a 51-year-old wheelchair tennis star who's already a quad tennis double gold medalist and bidding here in London for a third consecutive gold medal in the singles.
Please welcome the chairman of the London Organising Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games, Sebastian Coe, and the president of the International Paralympic Committee, Sir Philip Craven.